We're going to be starting off with the wonderful Mexican Minister of Defense, Sergio Perez, because apparently he's come out blasting Red Bull, saying that he's determined to have an internal investigation, saying that Max's equipment is much better than his own. There is simply no explanation why Max is so much faster than himself. Harry, what do you think to these immediate claims?
Yeah, look, this is... Sam did this schedule, so we've gone for the more explosive headlines.
You know it.
Rather than the genuine stories here. But
well, it's a real story. You can go online and find it.
It is a genuine story. I'm only teasing. Yeah, some odd comments from Sergio on that one. I think maybe I don't fully know when these were actually taken. I'm assuming it was after the race in Miami, but in the heat of the moment. But he's got... His equipment's pretty good.
That's better than most people's, isn't it? Better than my equipment.
Good. Okay. Yeah, but his car is actually pretty good, and it's a match for what Verstappen's been doing. So I don't don't fully understand where he's coming from on this one. And if, again, quotes may be easily taken out of context, but if he is having a pop at the team, I don't think that's a good idea, Sergio, mate.
No, not ideal.
Not ideal.
He's taking a proper pop at the champ, isn't he? He's really hitting the headlines with this one. You really think that he's, 16 points off the top of a championship after 5 races. It is the best season he's realistically ever had.
Yeah, well, right? 2 wins out of 5 races.
Yeah, and he won the sprint race, didn't he, as well? So
3 wins.
If you count that as a real win. Ben wouldn't. He's exploded. Thanks, Ben. That's all for you. Yeah, so, I mean, the equipment he's got is absolutely sublime. It's one of the best Formula 1 cars we've ever seen, grace the grid. Whether you want to call it the most dominant F1 car of all time, that's yet to be seen, of course. We'll leave that debate for you folks in the Discord, which you can join. The link's in the comments.
Plug.
Yep. Anyway, I feel like this comes across as a little bit of a sore loser comment. He's had a bit of a bad race there. He knows that maybe the audience is looking at him going, you managed to lose this spot from your teammate who's starting in 9th place. But realistically... there's no disrespect to Sergio. I think he maybe needs to take a deep breath, calm himself down, get back on the horse for the next Grand Prix, and start focusing for what's to come. I would be absolutely baffled if there really is some kind of internal, hierarchy of information and kit and that. It's good, isn't it? It's gone well.
Agreed.
Research that's going all towards Max Verstappen and isn't going towards Sergio Perez. What was very interesting is it appears that at Baku, where Sergio really thrived, yes, it's a street circuit, but at the same time, there seems to be a real lack of practice and on-track running available for the drivers. And maybe Sergio just is much better straight out of the bag, whereas someone like Max Verstappen, that once he's really honed it in, once he's really got the car where he wants it to be, fully settled, on the nose how he likes to drive it, quite oversteery. He's so rapid. We know how good Max Verstappen is. He's almost, unbeatable on his day. I'd argue there's maybe only 5 or 6 drivers in history that at their peak at the moment could really come across and beat Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez is up against an immovable object. He is inevitable with on Max Verstappen. And I think the fact that he's having a bit of a whinge, unnecessarily, I would think, and it really shows a lack of faith. We had the comments come out, of course, after the Miami Grand Prix that he wasn't receiving the same amount of information throughout the race, which...
And Anthony Davidson started that one.
That just feels a bit bizarre. I mean, there was maybe he missed a bit of a radio comment, but Christian Horner's come out and immediately said, I don't know what everyone's on about. We were giving him the gap every single lap.
And also, Perez strikes me as one as a driver who doesn't like to be on the radio all the time. Whereas, and I know they obviously will do Max messages more than Perez messages, but for the TV that is. But I think Max, you heard the message in the race when he was like, "What about this? What about this?" And GP's like, "Just do the driving, mate."
Yeah, I'm
looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, they all go through different phases. We've heard Lewis Hamilton, driving for his absolute life. And, Bono will come on the radio around the corner and he'll go, please stop talking to me in the corners.
Man.
Please, man. I'm going to crash the car, man. Sometimes I'll just go, shut up. I'm really focusing. Please be quiet. Go away. And I think you're right. Sergio has never been a chatterbox on the radio, or it's never been broadcast to us as the viewers that he talks so frequently. So I just think a little bit's got under his skin. I think this loss has got under his skin. I think he was coming into this weekend on a bit of a high, had some, momentum behind him, had great motivation. He's thinking, I'm in the title fight here. And he's been well and truly bodied a little bit, really, by Verstappen.
Yeah, I saw a graphic earlier of Verstappen's lap times on his hard tyre stint, and they're just all the same.
Was it graphic?
For Perez,
For Perez.
It would be. It was like a bar chart, and all the lines, just the
Flat.
same level.
The tyres never got old.
Yeah. So I don't think. Yeah, I think it's just we've seen before Verstappen can make have tyres last pretty well, and Perez used to be famed for that. But Verstappen, I think, might just be a bit better at it.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that, realistically, you're coming up against one of the best you've ever done. I get that you want to win a title. Everyone does. It's why you're in the sport. But keep your calm. Be consistent. Go into the next race and feel confident. You're still only 16 points off the top. There are, not to be rude to Sergio, but there are drivers who we have thought more realistically likely to win a title that have been further away from the top spot at this point and have kept their cool. So I was a little bit shocked when I saw the headlines. Do you think that Red Bull realistically would ever actually do something like this to one of their drivers? I mean, it is Red Bull. They've been known for their slightly interesting culture behind the scenes.
They did take Mark Webber's front wing off his car. That was the better front wing, and give it to Sebastian Vettel once, which is where the not bad for a number 2 driver comes from.
Fact, man.
Fact, man.
Wasn't a stat, but it did actually happen.
It did. But again, that was a bit dodgy, to be fair. But I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. And I think Sergio has established himself in that team. I know it's still Max Verstappen's team, but he's well established there now.
Yeah,
he's won races for them. He's helped them get a championship he's been integral to both championships basically, but particularly in 2021. So I don't see them favouring Max. I just think Max was just really good.
He's quite good at the F1.
But I mean, he was really good in Miami, and I can understand why that's hard to take. But lashing out at your team isn't gonna win you any favours.
No, you're right. It would make sense in a season where, in 2021, where Verstappen was up against Hamilton and, neither teammate were in the fight, that you might focus all of your research and upgrades on the driver who is directly in that fight with another team. That makes sense. But when the championship is obviously down to just your 2 drivers, the glory's coming back to your team regardless. What's Horner got to gain by giving it to Verstappen over Perez, really?
Well, exactly.
Not a lot.
No, none. I know Red Bull culture's got its some issues. Downsides.
Yeah.
Basically Helmut Marko. But I think for the most part they're very fair on their drivers. I feel like everyone's going to come after me for that, but I genuinely believe that. I think it was the same when Ricciardo was there. I know they were a bit savage with Gasly and Albon, but that was more about their performances, not about were they given equal equipment. And the same for back in the Vettel Webber days to a large extent. So yeah, I don't buy it at all. Sorry, Sergio, mate. You're talking rubbish.
A lot of rubbish.
What a load of rubbish.
Put it in the bin. Recycle it, bring it out next race as something positive.